representation. These police officers have not allowed me to have any. I don't know what this is all about.
Kill the president?
No, sir, I didn't. How'd you get the black eye? Sir?
You shoot the president?
I work in that building.
Were you in the building at the time?
Naturally, if I work in that building, yes, sir.
Back up, man! Did you shoot the president?
No, they're taking me in because of the fact that I lived in the Soviet Union. I'm just a patsy.
I started searching for coffee. That was all what I wanted to do. And I found some.
In the kitchen area?
But where, I don't remember, sir.
In a kitchen-type room?
I don't remember where I saw it, but I remember getting the cup. It was a shining...
Large urn?
Urn. And there was a girl there. No, I don't remember much what happened after that.
You don't remember?
So you think their mind was made up when they got you?
Well, it had to be made up. They couldn't... well, I don't know if there's any penalty for extraditing someone fraudulently or not, but I think I can see their legal point where they've got sticks.
You've had a rough year. You've had a year that would test a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Illness in the family. Mm-hmm. A breakup. This spasm of publicity about what happened from Mexico to London.
It was pretty rough, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Ah, weird. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello. Ew, strawberry. Yeah, it was a weird time. Ew, I'm embarrassed. Can we stop?
The decision to go to war in Iraq and to remove Saddam Hussein from power in a coalition of over 40 countries led by the United States of America was the hardest, most momentous, most agonizing decision I took in my 10 years as British Prime Minister. I feel deeply and sincerely, in a way that no words can properly convey, the grief and suffering of those who lost ones they loved in Iraq, whether members of our armed forces, the armed forces of other nations, or Iraqis. The intelligence assessments made at the time of going to war turned out to be wrong. For all of this, I express more sorrow, regret, and apology than you may ever know or can believe.
Concept, engineering of public consent. That's your concept, and that's based on the Thomas Jefferson
principle. That in a democratic society like our own, the consent of the public is basic to anyone's meeting his or her social goals.
Do you also believe that the consent of the public is basic for corporate goals too?
Well, obviously, if it's good for an individual, it's equally good for a corporation, and it's equally good for a hospital, or it's equally good for a child welfare institution, or it's equally good for a mental institution. And one reason why it is so important is that in the United States, every idea that wants to establish itself, whether it's to sell more paper cups that we worked with, or to make people more honest or more virtuous, depends on public consent. And so we worked out the engineering of consent, which applies to any social goal, but we depend upon a democratic public that theoretically and practically wants to be led to where it wants to go.
Do you suppose most world leaders are advised by public relations councils today?
Yes.
As producers of genetically modified seeds, the company is committed to innovation in agriculture. Polls show people, citizens across this country are concerned.
Well, we're, as you know, we're an agricultural company. We sell seeds to farmers who make harvests, and those harvests end up in plates around the world.
Well, quickly, we want to talk about Roundup. It's been approved in America by the EPA, something that your company manufactures. But many studies have looked at where it's funded or conducted by your company, that this chemical may actually could cause cancer, a chemical that is in this feed. Is there any sort of response to that? I mean, are we in fact poisoning our crops by using this Roundup
Not at all.
chemical?
Chemical giant Monsanto is ordered to pay more than $250 million to a man who says their weed killer gave him cancer.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it.
Today, we are faced, I think, with the approach of what may be called the ultimate revolution, the final revolution, where a man can act directly on the mind-body of his fellows. Well, needless to say, some kind of direct action on human mind bodies has been going on since the beginning of time. Well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy, who have always existed and presumably always will exist, to get people actually to love their servitude, love their servitude, love their servitude.
Very effective technology. When the U.S. tests technology, in fact, when most militaries test technologies, it's in the battlefield. The reason we got, in that 12-day trip we had with Tom Spencer, locked onto that ship together, we wanted him to broaden this discussion to not just include HAARP, but to include the whole array of non-lethal weapons that have been developed by the United States and others that we had been tracking. In our book, Angels Don't Play This HAARP, Gene Manning and I went and looked at that. We looked at the cooperation between the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense, where they had actually signed agreements for priority funding for non-lethal weapons when they had dual use, domestic use for riot control purposes and other purposes, as well as for military purposes. And it was Secretary of the Air Force Wynne, W-Y-N-N-E, when he was in his position, had made a very controversial statement in the U.S. He had said, don't worry about the non-lethal weapons to our adversaries because we tested them all on Americans first. A lot of us kind of took offense to that. I mean, it's like, that was pretty offensive. It was Secretary of Energy O'Leary, and we quote her in Earthrise and Revolution, where she admitted during the Clinton administration that over 500,000 Americans have been victims of human experiments in the United States over a 40-year period without their consent. Many of you might know the name Jose Delgado, physical control of the mind toward a psycho-civilized society. Yale University, where he worked, first mapping the various portions of the brain of primates and humans, and then implanting electrodes to stimulate various portions of the brain to try and manipulate, what would happen, and really try to gain a better understanding of the brain. And his famous experiment was he had a charging bull coming at him, and he had a radio transmitter, and he throws the switch and the bull stops right in front of him. And by the 1980s, he had actually developed the same technology where you didn't need any implants at all, just utilizing radio frequency energy at 1/50th of what the Earth naturally produces within the radio frequency range. He could manipulate the emotional state of human beings and primates. Now, like turning on and off a light switch from lethargic and passive to highly aggressive. And I want to mention that the easiest form of mind control, the easiest form, all you have to do is give the population a sense of anxiety, worry, or fear. So think about it as a radio transmitter and radio receiver. Once you have resonance between the two, you have a nice clear signal. You got the transmitter and the receiver. That's what we are on every aspect of us, chemically, our cell structures, our body organs. In fact, the military produced a book through the University of Utah, this big thick thing. It's called the Radio Dosimetry Handbook, and it's how much loading each of the vital organs of the body can handle in the radio frequency range before they malfunction. And they use this for the base of creating then a number of weapons technologies for doing exactly that, to override the brain, the heart, the liver, the lungs, to be able to literally affect the human operator but leave all the hardware intact.
Anyone with any sense who was in trouble would come to the witness and tell them the truth. They'd say, no, I'm in a jam, can you help? It might be debt, it might be scandal involving small boys, or any kind of scandal which a member seemed likely to be mixed up in. They'd come and ask if we could help. And if we could, we did. And we would do everything we can, because we would store up brownie points. That sounds a pretty nasty reason, but it's one of the reasons. Is if we can get a chap out of trouble, then he'll do as we ask forevermore.
Take two. Take two and 2, 1. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way!
Alright, get flat caps on, whippets walked, pigeons fed, and a cup of tea ready, me old love. Because live from West Yorkshire, it's Sheep Farm Raw. I thought I'd put you on first.
Why, you fucker? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. I thought I'd put you on first, Chris.
All right, thanks for that. I wasn't even ready. I was just in background.
Yeah.
Watching that
All right,
video.
welcome to Sheep Farm Raw. And can you hear us? That's more important. Are we loud and clear?
Does my mic sound all right, fair?
Yeah, you sound all right, Chris, for once. Okay, we're beaming live across Prison Earth. We're also beaming live across Rise Above and Inner Guardians on YouTube as well, and on Facebook, Odyssey, via Rise Above. Lance and Master Lee will be joining us in about 10-15 minutes. So I'll have to put up with Chris drinking his red witch piss for a while. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm not opening it yet, because if this goes on for 2 hours, I don't want to drink it all. Got a bottle of Merlot. Yeah.
Merlot?
Mm.
So you're not having a drink yet?
Not yet, no. I'll wait a bit, because if it goes on for... how long we do it? How long we doing?
I don't know. Lance is involved, so it could go on for quite a while.
Mm.
When that
last time was an hour. Last time was an
yeah.
hour. That went on for 2 hours, didn't it?
Yeah. A quick chat could be 2 hours.
I can't write anything in this chat, Fire.
You don't have to. You go onto YouTube and put it on mute and do it on there.
All right.
All right. So just do a bit of housewarming, please. If you can't log in to the website, if you remember, don't put a comment on YouTube. Don't put a comment on Podomatic. Don't put a comment on the website. Email us at info@sheepfarm.co.uk. And I'll put the caption on the bottom there so you can see where to contact us, because I don't read all the comments, so you might well be left high and dry, so to speak. I've noticed Amy and Patrick are in, and if you notice Amy and Patrick in the chat, they're the ones that took the flag to Glastonbury.
All right.
Yeah. I think Lorraine's managed to get in as well. Lorraine helps me with a lot of research. So does Sam. I think Sam's updated a computer for her to help her get into YouTube. I've seen Crab Claus is in there as well. I think Boxhead Jimmy Who's in there as well at somewhere.
Chris has the light right for a certain eye look. What does that mean?
I don't know. What does it say?
Chris has the light right for a certain eye look.
I don't know.
Or maybe because half my face is in shadow. Someone just mentioned nice bookshelf as well. By the way, I hadn't done that on purpose. It's only corner of my house. I can actually fit my bloody mic in without disturbing my missus and child.
Anyway, I'm gonna bring
it's not a backdrop either.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Lance in because he's waiting in the wings there. So I might as well just bring him in.
Hello,
Lance. How you doing?
How's it going, everyone?
You're right. You're right.
Chris, Dom, good to see you.
It seems a little odd doing it this way around, but
hey, it's nice for me.
Yeah.
I just rocked up and turned my computer on, all casual like.
Cool.
Yeah, all good. I didn't even really bother to tidy the studio, to be honest. I just finished work, came home. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No worries. Inner Guardian said I was speaking to him last night in his dojo. I told him it's relaxed; it can come in at any time, really. So there's no real rush.
I'm always early, mate. I'm always early.
Yeah, I always like getting out on time. Chris is the late one. Did you see? What do you think of that little video pack?
I was about to say I need to seriously compliment you on that montage at the start. That was something special because first of all, I started watching it and I was like, okay, right, what's this about? And then Britney Spears came on. I was like, boom.
Yeah.
And I think what you did there was you sort of really captured the flavour of what all of us are thinking about.
Yeah.
What's going on now and how did we get here? Because, we've been paying attention all the way along and most of the people watching our shows collectively have. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm really starting to enjoy watching the responses and the reactions of people that haven't been paying attention and their reactions to what's going on. But you hit many different points there.
The Be Liar one, when you look back now at what Tony Blair did, and now he's been knighted, he's been repaid for whatever he did back in 2002, 2003.
Yeah. I think basically you just painted the picture about how our reality has started to slowly become totally inverted. and basically the destruction of our reality. There's so many different things touched in that montage, whether it was whether it was the MK Ultra from Britney Spears. You see a clip, and and if you watch what she did in that interview, many different stars started doing stuff like that. To the engineers talking about manufacturing consent. I was making a post about this today. What story was it that made me think about this manufacturing consent? The Mo Farah story. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, somebody was telling me. Yeah.
No, it was really weird for me because I listened to Radio 2 at work just as a bit of sort of like perverse, evil rabbit hole research, right? And directly before the Mo Farah story came on, there was a story about how a record number of young males, economic migrants, had been picked up out of the channel that day by Serco, funnily enough, in their little special boats, and it was like 500, which is a new record. Never before has this many been picked up in one day. And then the very next story is Mo Farah, and it turns out Mo Farah, this absolute like hero, he's got knighthood. Sir Mo, he's knighted, isn't he? Sir Mo Farah? Yeah, Sir Mo. Well, it turns out he's coming on false papers and he was trafficked in, and I just thought, how convenient.
Yeah.
That we've got this heart-wrenching story about this national treasure being a victim of human trafficking, and how it just goes without saying. And I'm not coming down on either side of this argument. It goes without saying that obviously he keeps his knighthood, although that's not even his real name apparently. All of these things are just going to be forgotten because it's Mo Farah. And listen, I'm not even talking about the immigration aspect, the law aspect of it. I'm just talking about the manufacturing of consent aspects. And to me, it was just like, wow.
Where did he do his training? Between being a child slave and being world's fastest runner. You know what I mean? None of the story makes any sense, does it?
It doesn't make any sense because, okay, out of all different sports that cost a lot of money to be involved in, athletics isn't one of them. You don't have to buy a race car or anything like that. But the amount of time that you have to spend to become an athlete of his level, you basically need someone to pay you full time to do that. What was he doing? Was it outside of his hours where he was sort of chained to the radiator? He was doing that. Was it? Oh, come on.
I think he maybe jumped out a window and pegged it, and someone saw him and thought,
"That's how he got so good at money." Is that how it happened?
I'm not laughing at trafficking, but none of the story.
No, and we're not laughing particularly at Mo Farah or anyone that's been forced into work or anything like that. What we're doing is we're laughing at the absurdity of how this is actually being served up on to us on a plate,
and instantly everywhere as well.
Yeah, and it goes really well with your meme here in the background, Chris, because I was sent this last week or the week before when we were doing the show live. I almost spat my drink over the computer when I saw it. Andy PG was going, "What is it? Are they kettles?
Well,
is it?" I was like, "No, it's a pressure cooker, isn't it?"
It's slightly obscure. It's just supposed to be like a dial-up of. They can switch the dial up on anything. Some people thought it were bombs. Some thought it were. It's a bit obscure. I wanted it to be.
Bomb.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be. Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be a little bit obscure. So you're kind of like, what the hell is that actually? Exactly.
Some sort of like improvised IED made out of a kettle.
Yeah, the idea was. Yeah. The idea was that they were concerned Ukraine up, they concerned LGBT.
Yeah, it's perfect, mate.
Whatever down.
And we actually looked, me and Andy PG, while something else was playing, we were looking at each individual one and the colour you've got it turned up to, and every one is absolutely spot on.
Yes, you have to think about it.
So, obviously Ukraine is on like dark crimson red.
Blood red.
Perfect. No, mate.
Stick it in the background there.
You're really capturing the mise en scène of the moment here. It's like, because,
climates are orange.
Because all of those things, are all bubbling away at various different levels, and whoever's getting caught up in the anxiety of it, whoever's getting caught up at that level, that's designed for them right there. And everyone's got their point, and it's really quite mad to see how fast things are going as well now.
I started a little Instagram where I just put news items I've seen on it occasionally. Not loads. There's about 250 people for it. So if you want to follow it, it's cheapfam.co.uk on Instagram. But it was funny because I was going through the news and there was one about convirus starting up again. Straight underneath it, one about jigpox, and then another one about bloody... What was that one, Dom, that African one, where it literally said Double L. It will make you bleed out your nose and your mouth, and your eyes as well. I think
you bleed from the nose and the mood.
What was it, Don? What was that illness?
It was that one that Stanley Johnson wrote about, wasn't it? I forget what it's called now.
Marburg.
Yeah.
Marburg.
Yeah,
But again,
that's it, yeah.
that's
Marburg,
the
yeah.
one.
But
again, from
I've
Africa,
seen,
and
I've seen these quotes of what is it they're saying? Victoria era level illnesses. I've seen this quote, and it's like the Telegraph. These terrible illnesses resurrected from the Victorian era, and you read through, and what is it? It's like tight, and you're expecting like Black Plague or something like that, and it was
No, it's nothing now.
What is the number one infectious disease that people die from coughing? Tuberculosis. It was tuberculosis.
TB, right? Yeah, classic TB.
Yeah, but then when you look into it, TB is only rife in certain impoverished communities, in really built up cities, and it's not actually a big problem. And it's like, who was the person that had TB in the thing? He was a person from one of those communities that is more likely to have TB. So when you read it, there was nothing sensational about the argument at all. It's like some guy got TB.
I don't know if you're of that generation, but I've got a big dirty scab on my arm where I got TB jabbed when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I've got is it the one where it's like a big lump?
Yeah. That was
TB that not the 3-in-1?
Well, but TB was one of them. I don't know if it had 3-in-1.
That's it. Yeah,
we didn't have 3-in-1. I know. I didn't have any spots, and then about a week later, I looked like a fucking pizza.
Mate, I remember when it happened. You have it, and it hurt like shit.
Yeah.
And they actually they had like this little trifecta triple spear, boom, in your arm, and everyone had the real bad thing, like the lump come up almost immediately.
You're scarred for life.
Some kid started bleeding. He started bleeding and didn't stop, and he had to like go home. I remember that. I remember some other lad was. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Which probably helped a lot. Anyway, from them, like the Nick Begich, the guy that was talking with the suit on, he was talking about the stuff that we had that video where the guy would put in the sensor in the bull's head, and that's what he was talking about, and how much it's moved on now, and we know where that's going. But anyway, so before we start, I want to get into the Ratri info.
Okay.
We might as well kick that off at the beginning.
So this is where I do my plug, I guess. Yeah. So for anyone that's watched my show, you know that we love to have a chat and a natter and chew the Coviet cud like Chris and Dom do, but we, like Chris and Dom, are also quite infused with actually thinking about solutions, moving things forward, right? And the big thing is taking this off the screen and actually meeting in person. We've been asked to do a meet-up for as soon as we started the show, and we finally got round to it. So Retreat, the Rise Above Retreat, is happening from the 9th of September to the 11th. It's in a secret woodland location in Dorset. Now, we've already sold 150 tickets, roughly. We have a capacity of 499. I'm just going to get some... I'll just share my screen if that's all right. So basically, guys, if you want to meet up with like-minded people that watch my show and Sheep Farm, we have a massive crossover audience. There is a weekend get-together. We are going to be having all types of activities. Let me just share my screen right here. Funnily enough, the first thing that pops up... Oh, you've got to share the screen for me, Dom.
All right.
One of the first activities, we're actually having a First Principles of Self-Defense seminar on the Saturday and the Sunday with Inner Guardians. Okay, so we've got a whole host of music artists, all anti-Coviet music artists as well, I'll hasten to add. This is only 33% of the lineup here. So we've got people like Comprehend, JD, Terror Slim. Yeah, this is only the first release. All of the raw artists as well. We've got a band called Native Tongue playing as well. Magix, Oma Beats, the Off-Grid Dojo. Let me just get to the website. This is my slideshow. I should have prepared this a bit better. So basically, our website is riseabove.tv. The tickets are available right now. They're £66 for the whole weekend. That involves camping from Friday to Sunday. The event finishes at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. And it involves all of these activities included in the ticket price. We've got things like yoga, guided breathing sessions, meditation. We've got talks about things like blockchain technology. We've got Mark Devlin doing a talk on the Sunday about 9/11 symbolism in the music industry on the main stage. That's on Sunday morning. He's also going to be playing a music set on the Saturday. there is a lot more to be announced. This is all I can tell you so far, guys. It is completely child friendly as well. So whether you've got little toddlers, teenagers, they'll be catered for. We've got something called the Woodland School. We're going to be teaching kids how to light fires, how to build shelters, how to forage. We've got 2 different foraging experts, both doing a foraging walk included in the ticket price. So there's a good few £100 worth of experiences included in the £66 ticket price. Guys, there are tickets available right now. It's riseabove.tv/shop. And this is Raw Treat. We are so excited. If you want to know more about it, if you go on to Rise Above Live, there is a whole walk around of the site with a 3D camera showing you the woodland location where we're going to be holding the event. So yeah, we are very, very excited. And hopefully a few people that are watching right now that haven't heard about this event are going to be looking to go, because there's a lot of these events going on this year. I don't know if you've noticed. There's a lot of awake festivals, conscious campouts, things like that. Everyone's getting on the bandwagon, because the fact is that, you know, people that watch my show, they have been talking to each other for 2 years online every single Friday night, actually getting to know each other really well. And we think it's actually our responsibility to provide this so that people can have a meet up, because at the end of the day, we're a family now. So we sort of look at this. This is our annual family gathering. So yeah, we're very, very excited. And for anyone that's not familiar with Rise Above that watches Sheep Farm, if you don't know, we have got a close knit family already that have been meeting up at protests and stuff like that, sporting the merch. So there's going to be an army of us, and we're really excited to meet up on the weekend of 9/11. Tickets are £66 and £33 for children.
That video were very apt, wasn't it, at the end, with the towels coming down?
Yeah, absolutely. It just happened to be that, you know, we got this weekend because obviously, you know, we threw this together. We haven't put on an event before. We have a lot of experience between me and Omar Beats in the entertainment industry, so we know what we're doing. Not that we've put on anything like this before, but it's shaping up very, very nicely indeed.
So yeah. If I came down there with my missus and child, what do you have to bring with you? Is there a tent, or do you have to bring a tent?
You will need to bring a tent. You will need to bring a tent or a van. If people want to stay in a van, there are going to be van passes available for £20, which means you can actually camp in the van. We can't offer it to everyone because there's limited parking inside the woodland campsite. But basically on site, there's like compost toilets, this is proper off-grid camping, yeah? There is vertical nature showers, which means cold water above your head with a tap.
Chris.
Yeah. But yeah, there's something for everyone. We've got food vendors catering all the way from vegan through to jerk chicken, through to swine, hog roast. Everyone is going to be catered for. We've got a whole marketplace with artisan craftspeople, vendors, esoteric practitioners, teachers. So this is going to be, as well as a meetup and a party. I've just got an email from Master Lee saying the link is not working. What you need to do is, you know the link that you sent me, Dom?
Yeah, just resend it.
You need to unclick the thing that says share the stream and just send the regular link to Lee. Because he doesn't have Restream yet.
Right.
So yeah, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've just sent a regular. I'm going to send the same one that I've sent to Chris.
Yeah, not the one that you sent to me, the regular one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Master Lee will be joining us in a minute. So yeah, Terra Slim's bringing Nutwood Organics, which is his own small holding with all of his organic produce. Inner Guardians is going to be teaching the first principles of self-defense. We've got 528 Crypto teaching people about the future of blockchain technology, because a lot of people in our community are very adverse to anything crypto and blockchain. They think it equals Lord Schwab technology. Okay, a lot of people do think that. Yeah. So I've especially got someone to come along to teach people about the future of blockchain technology and what it could actually mean for decentralized freedom rather than enslavement and control.
Right. Yeah, I won't pretend I know anything about Bitcoin. It just confuses the hell out of me, to be honest with you.
I know a little bit, not really enough to talk, but that's why I've got Tom from 528 Crypto. Right. So yeah, guys, I mean, anyone that's watching that's been looking to get away for the weekend, if you want to bring the kids, they're going to be totally catered for. We have a fully licensed bar until midnight on the Friday and the Saturday. Live music, acts. woodland school for kids. We've got axe throwing, carving, archery, all types of stuff, and most of it is included in the ticket price. There's only a few paid activities, and they're very, very reasonable.
What about
We're running the bar and everything. No spear chucking, I'm afraid. No, we haven't. The insurance doesn't cover spear chucking, but we've got things like stone carving, wood carving, archery, and axe throwing.
Chris is good at spear chucking.
Do you know what?
I'll stay out of this conversation.
I think we better move on.
Yeah, guys. So, listen, if anybody wants to know anything more about Ratreat, let me. Oh God, have I got an email up on the screen? It's Ratreat, which is RATR33T @gmail.com. So it's Ratreat, but with 33 instead of E's. At gmail.com. Email me at riseabovelivestream@gmail.com if you want to ask any questions. But tickets are available right now. Thank you very much. That's my little plug. Yeah, and by the way, it'd be great to see the Sheep Farm family there as well as all our Rise Above family. We all can come together.
Yes.
Well, we intend on going there.
Yeah, we intend to come in now. I'm going to invite Master Lee in because he's there waiting patiently. And he's got his video working as well.
Oh, what? We're going to get to see Master Lee on cam?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be really good. I'd like to give you guys a stall. Oh, there he is. He's got the Off-Grid Dojo.
Hi, mate.
Hey, Lee, you all right?
Have you got his sound on?
Can he hear us?
No. He can hear us.
I think he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
No sound yet. No sound for some reason.
He's got some new wireless headset. I think it's going to play him up in that. So yeah, Dom, Chris, you both got a free ticket. You're more than welcome to come for the whole weekend. I would like you to have a little stall in the market, whether it's just a little sheep farm stall where you sit there and talk to people. Chris, if you want to sell your gaping gob
bring my stuff down.
ashtrays, yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Talking
mate.
about that, Double L, let me just give my
I only
thing a
want
plug.
33% of your profits, though. Yeah.
What you say, Dom?
What's your mic shouting?
No, I want to give my little thing a little plug as well. My can you see it? I'll send you one down. It's a sheep farm. Can you see
Oh, what? Mate, that's
it's
mint.
A sheep farm. It's a bottle up.
Oh, man. Yes.
So you can
mate,
I'll get you one too. Yeah, I've just molded it. I've just made it now, so it's I've only got a few of them, but it's available in original sheep colour, gold, and
honestly, you'll sell hundreds of those at Ratreat. I swear.
An antique silver. Your friend Lorenz just ordered one off me actually, Dom. From I think it's your friend. Is it small something? Your friend called?
Yeah.
Dom.
Just give a name out on screen, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Anyway,
give her address out as well.
We got in trouble for that. We got in trouble for that the other week when people buy merch, we sort of read out the emails and say, "Oh, thank you, Dan Jones, for buying a T-shirt." But people were buying tickets, and obviously, when you buy a ticket to the event, that's a physical event, and you're going to be there. And we started reading out everyone's names, or Andy PG did anyway. And we got an email saying,
"That's that book."
It was him. There's that email saying, "Please, would you not do that because maybe some people don't want other people to know where they're going to be." And we didn't even think about that. So we said sorry. Just first names now.
Right. Okay. So, is it working now?
There we go. That's better. Hello, Master Lee.
How's it sounding?
Yeah, it sounds all right. Could go up a little bit, bit more volume if you want.
All right, stand by. I think it doesn't like going from Zoom to Restream.
Right.
Zoom gets jealous of Restream's sexy graphics. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, one, two.
Yeah, we're all right there.
That's it.
Yeah. On the level meter, it sounds correct.
Yeah, it sounds all right, that. It's probably our Christian deafening everybody.
Yeah,
I've got to blame him. No,
big shout to Sam Carno.
Yeah, Sam's keeping everything updated there.
Does Sam do all your updates as well?
No, I don't know where he's got that from. He's just
put my gaping gob shop on.
Moonlighting.
It just gets in the zone, doesn't it? And I've got another video actually that I'm going to play. It's only 2 minutes. It's our friend Richard Branson. I put it on Sheep Farm Studios on YouTube.
Infinite Virgins.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it on there, but I'll put him on now for 2 minutes. Don't be sick though, will you?
Okay.
Well, the advisory centre came as a result of my own mistake in making my own girlfriend pregnant. And
Can you hear me,
I
Father?
went through about
I
3
can hear
months
you,
of
Chris.
hell, torment, whatever you say.
Lance, show me
in
how to
trying
get this.
Right, you need to drag
somebody
and drop
to give us
the
help.
Richard Branson to you. There you
And I was
go.
very lucky
Got it,
in
yeah.
that, when she was nearly 3 months pregnant, we finally came across a very kind woman doctor who in fact helped a lot in the advisory centre since. And as a result of my own personal experience, and perhaps of the experience when I first came down to London of not knowing anyone and going through a period about a month of loneliness in the basement, and I decided to set up a centre which dealt with problems, or any problems, of young people. How long are you overdue now?
10 weeks. My periods are so irregular that this was the first opportunity that I really had to, to be able to find out.
Okay.
What the fuck?
So what we'll do, very, very simple.
Wait a minute.
If you want an abortion.
When did he become qualified to do
We'll
that?
arrange it for you in Birmingham, which is very kind people. Very
Dr.
good
Richard
people
Branson, did you not know?
And as long as it's done by
Bill
good
Gates
doctors
School of
in a good
Medicine.
nursing home, you've got absolutely nothing to worry about.
I just sent you a Gaping
We
Gobs
worked out that there was
business
no
card
need
thing.
for
We
shops
put that
to be
on.
charging the amount they were for records. So
So
we
you mailed
started
it
a
to-
mail order company that would sell any record from any record manufacturer for 10% to 25% less than a commercial price. For instance, we could buy a record from EMI for 31
Did you hear me,
shillings,
Dom?
which a shop would sell at 40 shillings. Instead, we sell it for 35 shillings.
Log inquiries, please. Virgin Records is helping hundreds and hundreds of young people throughout the country to get records at about 6 shillings cheaper than, or 6 to 8 shillings cheaper than they would anywhere else. At the same time, it's also starting up new groups who, have been scorned by some of the big companies, and we're, listening to their records and give them a chance to get going themselves.
He's right, Crunt, isn't he? he looks like a young Bill Gates.
Strange, yeah.
Wait a minute. He was like
What a
when
strange
I came to London, I was in a basement for a month on my own, and then the next thing he sat at a desk, advising a young lady about her menstrual cycle.
Abortion.
Yeah.
He came to London, got his girlfriend pregnant, and he was concerned for 3 months until she got rid of it, and then he set a foundation up to advise women on abortions. This was in 1970 when he was 20-year-old, and they're
It
doing a
looked like the
documentary.
same
about
office
it.
he was selling his records from. So he was doing it from the
Were
same
there
office.
still backstreet abortions in the 70s in the UK?
I
Was
think
it
they just
still like that?
legalised them, weren't they?
Because I wasn't born then, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've only been one, so yeah. Anyway, it just what that shows is that at 20-year-old they're doing a documentary on Richard Branson.
Mate, that's mental.
When apparently he was homeless, living in a squat, which is not true because a lot of his family are Sir such and such and Sir such and such, and so yeah, he came from whether it were a very wealthy family or just in the know family. It's strange. Yeah, it's strange though. This sounds like Tony Blair, Jagger, and Brian Cox. It's very similar sound.
A little bit of Savile in there.
Bit of Savile, yeah. Boom.
It's like multiple archetypes.
Yeah.
Multiple
Could
archetypes.
could be one drop of Aleister Crowley as well.
Yeah, yeah, or a big drop of Aleister Crowley in there. I've got another picture actually that you might like. Before we come on to this picture here that I'm going to put over top is Romeo Beckham.
Oh, right,
modelling for Yves Saint Laurent.
You can't really see his heels there, can you?
They're called kitten heels. Let's turn that off. There you go.
Nice big M on his chest.
Kitten heels.
That's a Playboy rabbit, that is the one.
Playboy rabbit.
Oh yeah, it is a Playboy rabbit.
Of course it is. You have to look closer.
Yeah, because I normally the rabbit's white, isn't it?
Yeah.
Inverted rabbit.
So anyway, that's Mr. Beckham's son modelling for us there in his kitten heels, pushing the LGBT and whatever it is, cross-dressing nonsense. We called it with Rishi Sunak, didn't we, in November?
Oh yeah.
I think we were probably bang on the money there, weren't we?
I think it was you.
Yeah, I think it was Lee that said, "I bet it looks like Slumdog." So I put a couple of pictures together of our Mr. Sunak. And
literally, come on! I didn't realise he looked
crazy,
that much like Slumdog actor. God, that's like
so
uncanny.
obviously, Slumdog's the one on the left, the top left.
Are you sure?
Well, I could juggle them up.
It's like now, like Steve Coogan looks the same as Jimmy Savile. Every time I see Steve Coogan now, I see Jimmy Savile, and when I see Jimmy Savile, I see Steve Coogan.
rather worrying, really. But that is too much of a coincidence, isn't it? I mean, that picture on the right there, that's 2001. So that's pre-Slumdog. But I mean, that look there is exactly the same, them two.
That's from that now famous interview where he goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
I have some middle class and some working class. Oh, not working class," and then he laughs.
And his dad looks, but I mean, I'm not into that class nonsense anyway, so I don't really care what class he thinks he is or not. But
Parasite class.
Yeah, parasite class, and he's his father-in-law.
Oh, so you got some pretty important friends then.
Just a few.
I think that's the old Putin there. Go back.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it doesn't look anything like.
Doesn't look anything like. Either Putin has had extensive work done, loads of injections, cheek fillers, loads of work. You know, you'd be talking like 10, 20 different procedures to change from that to what he is now, if it's the same person.
Yeah, and yeah, it isn't the same person, is it? It can't be. I was looking at some Bill Gates pictures as well, young Bill Gates, and that it doesn't.
2014, it all changed for Bill Gates.
Yeah,
that's when it starts to look totally different.
That's
the story is
Bill Gates came on.
Well, I read somewhere, and it's one of those things that you read and then it disappears, that it was actually reported in India, in local press, that Bill Gates and Melinda were executed in India in 2014 for maiming, I think it was 500,000 young girls with some type of Britney. I can't remember what it was for. And I heard about that, and I thought, okay, that's an interesting take.
It was the HPV, I think.
That's the one. And then I started to look at the photos of Bill and Melinda, because you know that the famous photo where it looks like they've swapped, the quite recent one that everyone made memes out of.
Yeah.
Well, this phenomenon started happening after 2014, and then that's when that allegedly happened.
Has anybody looked into the Elvis Presley and the polio jabs?
No.
I heard about that. Go on. I heard that the other day.
No, I just wondered if anybody had researched it. I mean, I've heard a few things, but I haven't verified it.
He said he. Am I right?
He was anti.
Anti, that's right. And then
he was anti, and then next thing you know, he disappeared for a while, and then he appeared on stage receiving the polio jab.
Yeah. Similar shenanigans.
So it's nothing new.
No, that's the thing. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah. I don't know if you've read a book. I mean, Chris has read it. I mean, I've rattled on about it a few times. Called Dr. Mary's Monkey, and a guy called Ed Haslam wrote the book, and it was all intertwined around the time of JFK and what have you, where they'd come up with the polio jab in the 50s, and it had poisoned a load of people, and they'd had to make a second one, which was just as bad, and they worked out that by the 1980s, there was going to be a soft tissue cancer epidemic. Yeah. So they decided to make another jab that was going to counteract the first jab, or the first two jabs. And bear in mind, they'd given out 400 million of these jabs, so it was a little bit too late. And the story is about all that, and it's intertwined with Lee Harvey Oswald and what have you. It's a really interesting book.
It's a crazy book, isn't it?
It's like crazy. It could be a thriller, but it is based on. But it's a true story. So Dr. Mary's Monkey.
And when you talk about the big C, we don't even know because of as lack of memory and ability to remember. We don't know how much Big C was around in them days, or between then and now, do we? I mean, has it increased?
Yeah, this is the big question, isn't it?
A lot.
It seems to be it's increased. I saw something today that was on about skin Big C and going out in the sun. And this woman was basically saying that you need to do the exact opposite of what you're told. Going out and getting in the sun actually decreases your... And she's saying that the Big C in your skin is actually caused by diet. She's saying like 50 or 60 years ago, skin Big C was actually super rare. It wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Saying that skin Big C is actually a very modern phenomena.
So did it literally start at that point where Dom's talking about there when... And also, if you think about now, where they've been doing the old adverts, like that video we put out, Dom, about people having chest troubles, it's slowly creeping up, and then in 5 years, no one will remember that never happened.
Yeah.
It's a very slow form of sort of gaslighting that induces some sort of collective amnesia that forgets the stages that preceded to where you got to. And I think this is how the game is always played. Because it's done so slowly and transgenerationally.
Looked at the ONS figures like recently?
No.
Or say May, June.
No, but
I've only heard John Campbell talking about him in his videos.
They were talking about it in the dojo last night.
That's right, the John Campbell thing, yeah. Yeah, we were on about that, weren't we, Dom, the other day?
Yeah, what a twat he is.
Yeah. It was weird, wasn't it?
Because
he wasn't actually saying what it could be, just saying there was excess, but he didn't.
He was saying it was everything apart from the obvious, wasn't he? He was listing every possible thing that could be causing. Because if I get it right, what's happening at the moment is they're 15%. The excess non-COVID fatalities are 15% above the 5-year average, which is equaling about 1,200 a week excess over the normal excess. So you've got to remember that. Yeah, this is not just excess deaths. This is excess over the 5-year average, and that's 1,200 a week. So, and I think the average amount of deaths in the UK pre-COVID was always levelling at 50,000 a week total, not excess, just total death.
Yeah,
right.
So if you look at it like that, an excess above the 5-year average of 1,200 per week. So what? That's 5,000 a month. That's 10. Yeah,
that's quite a big shift, isn't it?
Yeah, big. Yeah.
That's not just. I mean, that John Campbell as well has got 2.5 million subscribers.
Mate, I've been going ham in his comment section.
Oh, I'd lost the plot in there last week when Christian sent me a video, and went a bit over the top, so I deleted it. But started getting, but the amount of comments. Yeah, but the comments on there though were like we were writing them. The amount of people that were in there.
I think when I saw some of the comments, and it was like there was 100 replies to one comment.
Yeah,
and someone was going like, it was a classic. I've been to 3 concerts and I had a booster. I've got long COVID and XXXXX.
Yeah.
And if you go into that comment section and literally just say something very common sense and obvious, like what we would say, it was like rolling a hand grenade into a room packed with people. But most of the people wanted the explosion to go off. That's the only way I can explain it, because there were a few people no, but most people were like, well, yeah, and they were ready to accept the elephant in the room, which I found was quite refreshing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, a lot of them stepped over the fence. We were discussing this on Master Lee's dojo last night. A lot of people have stepped over the fence for the arm spear reason, not necessarily woken up, but they've realised they're getting scammed on the arm spear situation. But are they going to get told about these excess deaths? No, they're not, are they? The majority of people are just going to carry on as normal.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, that's Rishi Sunak's dad's father-in-law's pyramid and his sundial. Personal pyramid at emphasis, and that's the slum behind it.
Oh my God, look at that. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Nice.
I mean, couldn't he not afford to put his pyramid somewhere a bit nicer?
I know
he definitely could if he wanted to.
It is there because you can see the buildings. Because at first I was looking at that thinking, then I looked at the palm trees and what have you. But
so he can have a piss off top onto him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's
you actually got a better view. You got a better view living in the slum.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's the old adage: if there's a really nice castle, you're better off living in the Peasantville, looking at the castle, because you get to see the castle. If you live in the castle, you got to look at Peasantville.
Yeah. So you had an interesting guest on last Friday, Logan. I mean, Mark were on there, who's always interested anyway. And
he's great. Mark Baaaa.
He did over exaggerate my singing abilities and career, which, in fact, I think my mate who we had the studios in tonight as well. Well, I call him Boxhead, but Jimmy Who will be somewhere floating about. I don't know if he's made a comment, but anyway. But Logan opened a few doors with, especially to the Monsters Inc. type paradigm. That I think a lot of us talk about similar things, but I think he studied that.
He went all the way, didn't he?
Yeah, because he studied that particular thing in granular detail. He did go all the way, and the energy harvesting, which you guys have spoke about, which me and Chris have spoke about, which a lot of people have spoke about, and stadiums. Stadiums is a big thing where the amount of energy in there, and if you go there, there's a lot of Wi-Fi transmitters around, and now obviously the numero 5 towers as well.
Well, mate, I've noticed from my work in the entertainment industry over the years, and even before the narrative about this wireless pentagram started to emerge, I noticed maybe 10 years ago that the bigger the festival, the larger the sponsorship from the telecom companies, and the more they were testing out their new mobile cell towers, because that's what you'd actually see, because you'd see such a concentration of people, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people in a small space, all constantly walking around, uploading selfies and rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
You would have to get these extra cell towers in. And I started to see it, way before all this. So it definitely goes hand in hand. And you know, when we've talked about this as well, we've had various different viewpoints. I've showed comments where people are talking about the link between paranormal activity, non-physical entities, and electromagnetic frequencies. And there is a link here.
About it in, I think it's South Africa, and like 17 kids were found dead in a nightclub. Did you see that?
How long ago was that?
It was just a couple of weeks ago. My missus who told me about it, and I looked at it. They were like, they basically just found 17 to 20-year-old kids dead in a nightclub, and it just reminded me of that Travis Scott concert. And they said they were looking into whether they'd been poisoned or not, and then the story vanished.
Oh, I did hear about this. Yeah, because Inner Guardians brought this up when we did the Travis Scott concert. You know, because everyone was jumping on the conclusion that it was a Britney-induced cardiac event. And Lee brought up, well, maybe this isn't some sort of frequency experiment. Do you remember that?
Talking of scripted events, we really need to talk about Wimbledon. Isn't it ironic? The two winners.
I don't know.
Well, according to the narrative,
Anti and pro.
according to the mainstream narrative, you got one who's hasn't been to the Britney concert, and the other winner was Russian. Now, is that a coincidence, or is it some kind of mockery from the cosmic joker?
Well, it's the two enemy number ones of the normies: an an anti-Britney person, and a Russian. Those are the two big enemies of the normie of the Soviet NPC, aren't they? And they've both won Wimbledon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even
So
know that.
does this kind of confirm the script, or does it mean that there's no script? Because if you think about it, if it was scripted, or who is writing the scripts?
Well, Logan said.
I always talk about is the cosmos or the realm conspiring for you or against you? I should imagine it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So it was either scripted or it's some kind of cosmic karma.
I call it a cosmic joker.
Logan was saying whoever the architect that's spewing out the script that's manifesting the reality, he said they have a wicked sense of humour.
Yeah.
Irony. Yeah, definitely some sort of dark comedic irony is sewn into what's going on for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, like the A friend of mine and Chris is lousy. She won't be listening to this because she's not into what we're into. But Louise, she's called. We've always called her lousy. Anyway, another story. She said to me when she was abroad, she went to Greece because I managed to convince her not to have the arm spears over the last few years because she would have been treble tapped. Fortunately, she was one of our mum's friends, and she said the sun's not like it is abroad when we're here, is it? And I went, just say that again and listen to what you're saying. The sun isn't the same as it is abroad when we as it is here. So she unknowingly acknowledged that the sun is different abroad than it is in the UK.
I've
and I
had
said,
loads of people say that.
Yeah, maybe it's a different sun. And she went, I never thought of that. And that comes back to that sun download, which is an interesting. Yeah, go on.
Can I share my screen, please? Because you're talking about the sun. I came across this today. This is amazing. Right. I came across this totally randomly while scrolling through Facebook. And this is a post from the Weather Channel, July the 7th. One sec. Let me just share the screen. Okay. And apparently there's an event coming up, which is July the 8th, where 99% of the world's population will have something in common. We will all be on the same side of the earth facing the sun, meaning all of us, 99% of us, will experience some degree of sunlight all at the same
66%
time.
of us, if you invert that.
Now, yeah, have a close look at this one, Master Lee, because we've got to unpack this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more.
How the hell can they work that
screen. Mate, I was baffled, absolutely baffled. So are we trying to say that like 99, because I mean, the earth doesn't get any closer to the sun. The shape of the earth isn't changing. The size of the earth isn't changing. How can more of the earth be illuminated than usual? How can 99% of the population of the earth all be in daylight at the same time when we have time zones? Do the time zones not matter that day?
It looks like just Australia and that out.
So what, has Australia only got 1% of the global population? It's just it's like total bullshit to me. I don't know. Is it just me? Everyone in the live chat, what's everyone saying? Does this look normal? Is this plausible? Was this the shape of the crater?
When was that supposed to happen? It happened on
I believe July the 8th this happened. Let me just check my science stats here. Trust the science, comrades. It says it happened at 7:15 ET. I don't know what ET means.
Extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial time. Eastern time, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could just be nonsense, or it could be confirmation that the realm isn't as solid, or it's a lot more fluid than what we have been taught.
Hmm.
Maybe the flat Earth people have affected it.
Well, enough people have started believing in flat Earth, so it's actually flattened out the curve of the realm.
Yeah, I meet quite a few normies that are actually switching on to the flat Earth theory.
Well, I think I would say it's definitely not what they tell us it is. I don't know whether it's flat or blancmange. I don't know, but I mean, even on I'm calling me stupid because I don't know, but even here, especially the last few days, the moon's there and it's daylight. I mean, am I being thick? How does that work?
No. I was going to say that. I mean, how can you have the moon there and the sun over here somewhere at the same time?
That would just mean
somebody can explain it.
Someone can explain
it. Brian Cox Pops can explain it.
There's a bird
some kind of tidal lock.
A bird flies behind the sun. Have you seen this video? There's a couple of them where clouds have seemed to go in front and behind of the sun at the same time. I should have fetched them up before making these far out claims. Whether they're doctored or not, I don't know.
I generally don't go with flat Earth or the sort of globe theory, but I don't think we do live on a spinning ball. Now, if any scientist or any NASA physicist or anything like that can demonstrate to me water clinging to the external shape of a spinning ball.
Well,
they always use that thing with a bucket. You know, you put water in a bucket and you spin it around. You say, "Look, the water doesn't fall out." Well, that's water on the inside.
It's on the inside
of a shape.
Yeah.
So also, if you look at the how water behaves, it always finds its own level.
Mm. It's gravity, though, Lee. Gravity holds it in. That's where I've got the theory of gravity.
All right, so imagine if you had a wet tennis ball, Chris. Imagine if you had like a wet tennis ball. You know how like a certain level of the moisture will stick to the tennis ball in like the fibres. You could say that's the trees and the mountains. You know, you could say that the gravity of the tennis ball is keeping that coating of water on it. What happens as soon as you were to spin that tennis ball? Water just all flies off.
Flies off. Yeah.
Just flies off.
You lot weren't paying attention in your history and science classes.
Definitely not.
Another one as well is what I find weird,
GSE.
and I saw this the other day and I pointed out to my missus, is when you got all the clouds there and then you get the sun's rays going in a V shape down.
Yes.
It means that it's really close, because it's otherwise if it was 91 million miles away like it's supposed to be, that had just surpassed all of Earth. And you
the light's refracting off the clouds, Christian. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why it's going like that. See,
refraction.
Yeah, must be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you can take most of these subjects. Even as a kid, I was always confused at school with regards to the education system, because in one lesson I would be taught the theory of evolution. Then in the next lesson I would be taught entropy. Well, entropy. So if you take second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy, with that counter goes against evolution. So we're taught that things are evolving, but at the same time there's a law of entropy, which means things decline. It's a contradiction. And then you get taught dinosaurs, then you get taught religious studies, and it all contradicts. The thing is, it'd be okay if you had a teacher or the teaching curriculum would actually say, well, look, these are all just theories. You know, look into them. Come to your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another teacher, emailed me today actually, who's wrote a massive paper on, you know, he's put it anyway. I might show it.
Oh, double L.
Wants me to show it. But,
Don told me that story about that teacher.
What's teacher?
I don't know.
Sports Day.
Yeah.
Go on, tell her.
Well, one of our avid viewers, I won't name her because it could come back to the teacher, but she wears Rise Above all the time, but she's wearing a hoodie with like everything exempt or Rise Above on the back or something, and she walked to a kid's sports day, and her kid happens to have autism, so it's a special needs school, and obviously, right, for anyone that has a child with special needs or autism or learning difficulties, they will know that those kids were targeted first and very hard by the Soviet Union when all the nonsense happened, which is a whole other story. So anyway, she's gone to the kids' sports day wearing the hoodie. One of the teachers has come up to her and said, "Oh my God, you watch Rise Above? Me too. I just want to say thank you so much for seeing through the bullshit." And this is what the teacher said, and it happened to be her child's teacher, which was amazing. She said, "Thank you so much for seeing through the bullshit. That is so, like, it warms my heart to know that at least one parent in the school hasn't fallen under the spell or whatever," she said. And the teacher was so moved, and I want to say the name, bless her heart, she was like, but obviously it meant so much to her as well to know that not only there was someone in the school that works there that hasn't fallen foul of it, it was her child's teacher.
I mean,
so,
and
like,
also
I'm
the
not
fact
gonna
that it's a teacher, I mean, that means, because if you're having to go through the curriculum, if you like, you can still drop me little nuggets in there every now and again, like Lou's saying, you could say, you know, this is all well and good, but
she said,
and think for yourself. That's all you need to say.
She said, luckily the school was a bit more questioning, and they weren't going along with everything, probably because of the nature of dealing with the kids with those type of needs. They had to have a bit more of a personal approach, I guess. But for me, that's everything, right? That's more than getting on stage and speaking to 50,000 people.
Yeah, definitely.
That's everything for me, because, like, I'm not going to lie, I shed a tear when I read that.
Yeah, same for me when Amy and Patrick took the flag. Not because I'm egotistically attached to that logo, more the fact that there are other people out there.
Well, someone's took the time to take that to a printer or wherever you do, get it printed off, then drag it all the way to Glastonbury.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They haven't bought that flag off your website.
No,
right?
no.
They've gone and made that themselves. Yeah, that's big.
I mean, there's effort, isn't there? It's,
yeah.
One of the things that, going back to Logan, one thing I want to chat to Lee about actually is the tinfoil hat stuff. we were talking on an email a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah,
Remember in one of the
Yeah.
last podcasts that we did, where
Yeah.
I actually asked a friend of mine whose mother was hearing voices, why does she put tinfoil on her head? Yes. Does it work? And he said yes. She said yes, it does. It stops the voices.
Yeah.
And you picked up on that, didn't you, Lee?
Yeah, well, around about 10 years ago, me and I would say at the time he was probably sort of light occultist going towards the dark occult side of things. So I did actually learn quite a lot from working with this individual. Anyway, we started experimenting with tinfoil hats. In fact, we ended up with NASA space foil. We found that was the best. And long story short, we found that when we were wearing them, and we actually put hats over the top to camouflage it, so we pretty much wore them for 24 hours a day. We'd even sleep in them. And we did the experiment for around about 4 weeks.
Quality.
Yeah.
I've heard this story like loads of times, but it's still great every time I hear it.
And I would say the effects that we found is that it was almost like the same sensation or mental sensation as when you go into nature or when you go into the woods. So there's a lot less kind of, I guess, background noise or even white noise or some kind of static that was taking place within, I guess, the brain. And but we still don't know whether it was kind of psychosomatic, whether it was actually doing something. But yeah, there was a difference. It was like going into the woods, and I would say it's probably the equivalent of some type of Zen meditation or sort of no mind, where you get rid of the fuzziness or the background noise.
Yeah, like the woodpecker sound. Remember
Someone just
the
put
Russian
Faraday
woodpecker?
cages there. You can
Yeah,
buy
it's like
Faraday cage.
Faraday
You can buy
cage.
I think you can actually buy hats, can't you? I don't know if
Yeah.
Matt Lanman makes them as well, though.
Yeah, but the woodpecker signal they were sending out, I think in the 70s, I think it was a Russian signal, apparently into outer space, but I reckon it was for something totally different for that. Probably looking for the spark of life or something.
But when I first started sort of doing the Inner Guardians, well, it's kind of evolved over I'd say the last 20 years even, but let's say the last 3 years when it's sort of accelerated. When I was trying to explain it to especially those in the self-defense or personal protection world, they really didn't get it. But then when I explained to them, when you go to say a hospital and you have any sort of examination of the nervous system or the brain, what do they use? It's always electronic devices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So surely if they're using electronic devices to map or have an understanding of the brain activity or even the nervous system, they're using electrical devices. So you could pretty much come to the conclusion that we are electric, and that we function by using electrical pulses or impulses. So then that opens the door wide open to some type of inception or influence of electronic frequencies.
Which I mean,
to me, it's obvious. It's obvious.
Pretty obvious, yeah. Because I mean, with transceivers and receivers, as that you didn't see the video at the beginning. Nick Begich was saying that he was carrying the conversation on from that guy that put the probe in the bull's head and pressed the button and stopped it. To now, they can now do that remotely, and so if humans can do that, if there are other entities, dimensions, whatever, are they playing around doing the same thing?
Yeah, and it's all connected to like the reptilian mind and the limbic response system and stuff like that. It's definitely all connected, and the sort of term tinfoil hat wearer, I guess that came from people that were experimenting with, not necessarily getting rid of it completely, but at least mitigating or a reduction of brain interference or thought inception. And you know, for those who don't know, the reptilian mind is based on the fight, flight, freeze aspect. Which, if you think about the mainstream media, what are they always doing? They're definitely putting out the frequency resonance through visual news stories and written news stories to get people into the sort of reptilian mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's always that. It's always, yeah, it's fight or flight. The R complex, it doesn't think, it reacts, right? It's reactive.
Yeah, instinctive, yeah.
Yeah.
The trauma
which
based.
is counter. It goes counter to sort of some type of homeostasis where you can start to use higher senses or intuitive sense or knowledge. Which is kind of, if you think about it, if you've got intuition and critical thinking, you can see through the bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Which is maybe that answers why we're all here tonight. There's 594, by the way, in total.
Actually,
here tonight. Yeah.
I actually burst out laughing the other day. I was just driving somewhere, I had the radio on, and they actually said on the radio, we've got to be careful of the heat wave coming up. They're turning the level up to 3 or whatever. So and the woman actually said that means danger of death. And the road's melting. And you're like, what are these people on? Do you know what I mean?
Danger of death. I've got a good one. Seeing we're talking about tin foil, can I just share my screen again?
Of course you can.
And adverse weather. I just got sent this live during the show from Michael Carey. Bridge is wrapped in tin foil to protect from heat wave. Yeah, this is happening. Hammersmith Bridge has been wrapped in foil to prevent it overheating as temperatures rise. Engineers were spotted covering it in chains on the Grade 2 listed 135-year-old structure, silver-covered foil. Is it really that hot? I'm pretty sure it's been hotter than this before, hasn't it?
Definitely been hotter than this.
Yeah, definitely.
135 years old. Do you not think it's seen bigger heat waves than this? They're insane, aren't they, these people?
I've seen a lot of memes.
When it comes to, I don't know if we'll talk about this at all in the show, but when it comes to like entity or attachments or mind inception and stuff like that, the first step or the first rule or the first exercise, the first thing that you have to establish is some form of meditation, preferably like a Zen type, no mind or mind without mind type meditation. There has to be like a naked awareness or definitely a reduction of noise, because if you've got lots of noise, which most people have because of lifestyle, that's where they can get in. That's where they can attach. They attach to these kind of you could call them like floating thoughts that you identify with or attach yourself to, and that's kind of like how these attachments connect.
Yeah, and
simple terms.
Yeah,
so the Amish were correct then.
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? But they're allowed to attach through high toxicity levels in people, trauma, stress, and that has to must have something to do, Lee, with dropping the defences, reducing you to a petrified mass where they can easily infiltrate.
Yeah, well, if you look at all of the sort of mechanisms used, so you've got trauma, gaslighting, psychological operations, predation, and aggression. They're the main sort of avenues or inlets to these attachments. So it goes back to the reptilian mind. Now, the opposite to that would be sort of being parasympathetic, as opposed to the sympathetic nervous system taking over, which puts you in fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
When really we should be in like feed and breed or reproduction.
Yeah, if we were an electric light, if we were an electric light, we'd just be flickering. You know, that on and off constantly, because we can't. Or the human state at the moment is that right. Should I do this? Kind of stick or twist. It's that type of mindset, isn't it? That they don't know how to make a decision.
Yeah, and I'm not recommending that anybody try this, but if you stand outside somebody's house while they're watching television at night time, you will see a flickering effect.
Yeah, I've said that before. If I go in my other room and the TV's on, it's like a pulsing, and it literally would be what you use to hypnotize someone, wouldn't it?
But a lot of these inventions, especially like television technology, the origins of it actually come from the psychic and seance people. So, for instance, with a television, they wanted to be able to materialize or visualize what invisible entities or energies or spirits would look like.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that most of the technology, if not all the technology that we are using, even right now, even our laptops, phones, computer systems, your Zooms, your whatever, the origins of it always come from the occult, dark occult world.
I've been doing quite a bit of research on Aldous Huxley. We're going to do a presentation on him, and a lot of the groups that he was involved in, but mainly his grandfather, was around the occult, and a lot of the group. So a lot of his writings come from occult meetings and things like that, which is quite obvious when you read Brave New World. But his grandfather set a lot of these up, like he was part of setting up the Rhodes Round Table and things like that. And so, and a lot of these people come from there that are the inventors of things then, whether it's authors or inventing TVs, they're all part of. Who was that guy, Chris, on that? You remember that book, that Shelby Downer? Who was that inventor? Which inventor was it who were on that island? He was. Was it Edison?
Graham Bell.
Alexander Bell. Yeah, he was part of a Masonic lodge in America, and he invented a telephone, apparently.
And isn't a flat screen TV or a mobile? It's just like a screen mirror, isn't it? It's a black mirror.
Yeah, it's a black mirror. Yeah, and so for instance, a lot of the technology, if not all the technology, it comes from what you could say, I guess, the spiritual, metaphysical realms or dimensions or whatever you want to call it, made manifest. And then it's kind of a way of maybe artificially. I mean, even if you look at a frequency signal or radio frequency, I mean, that is confirmation of higher worlds or spiritual worlds or worlds that we cannot see.
It's a bit like if you, I don't know, let's just say you come home and your wife's in a bad mood, and she's got her back to you. You can generally sense that there's something not quite right without any words spoken. You might not know what it is, whether you've come home late and somebody's annoyed, or they're annoyed because something's happening in their day. But you can sense that.
An atmosphere, isn't it? It's an atmosphere.
You can sense an atmosphere, and that is that tuning in to that. And what you're saying is going into another, I suppose, another dimension, another world, and tuning into.
I mean, you can talk to psychics, mediums, spiritualists, people.
Where's Mark when you need him? Yeah,
people that are into the metaphysical, and they'll often get poo-pooed by the science or the scientific kind of mind, or the scientific education system. And generally speaking, there is a kind of unwritten rule where what you can't see, you don't touch, you don't investigate, you don't look into. You have nothing to do with. And I would say, and I said this last night in the dojo, that if you ever go into some kind of discussion or even a debate about whether there's a spirit world or non-physical world, or there's things that you cannot see but can influence what you can see. So let's leave it at that. So if you go into any form of debate with somebody, I guarantee you that the person who is poo-pooing it or denying it cannot meditate or has never meditated.
Yeah,
they'll have zero direct experience of the thing that they're poo-pooing, which is a definite, a certain common denominator. I've had very lengthy debates / arguments online and in real life about people with people about exactly this, and I said, well, have you ever had a near-death / out-of-body / mystical experience? Have you ever had a non-physical experience that, apart from a mid-evening dream or whatever? And they're obviously going to say no. So you're trying to deny the existence of something that you have never experienced. That's a position of supreme ignorance, as far as I'm concerned, because how can you possibly comment on something you haven't experienced?
I would say pretty much all of the recognized esoteric teachers historically, they would all pretty much say that meditation is the first step. The reduction of the physical impressions, perceptions, and where you sort of, I guess, you go into more of an inner space.
Yeah, I've had some pretty deep experiences with meditation over the years. It helped me a lot at certain times as well, and it's getting poo-pooed now by even the alternative crowd, isn't it? As as part of the Aquarian plan, if you like, and it's been infiltrated. But
that's the whole Luciferian agenda.
Yeah.
And we also spoke about this last night in the dojo. So as an example, when most people come at you and accuse you of being a Luciferian, they blatantly refuse to actually establish first principles as to what they define as a Luciferian.
Yeah.
It's a word, okay? But until you establish the first principles of what a Luciferian is, then don't go calling people it. And I would say the actual calling people Luciferians is a psyop. That is an agenda, because it's a way to quiet those who are actually saying, do you know what is taking place right now in the physical is actually being done by the non-physical or non-physical influences. So when you eradicate that from the equation, none of this makes any sense. But the moment you factor in that there could be physical manipulation caused by non-physical forces, then a lot of things start to make sense.
Yeah. And when you find, I saw a story the other day from 2015. You see, this is from 2015. This, so remote control brain activity with heated nanoparticles.
Wireless deep brain stimulation. Wireless pentagram. Isn't it? This is a wireless pentagram. Come on, Michael. It certainly is, though. That's what's this? Some red blood cells being penetrated by Schwab frequencies, and activating and causing blood clots.
Yeah.
Wow. An artist's impression of a medical nanobot inside the bloodstream.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like Starship Enterprise or something
it
like
looks
that.
like some sort of like prehistoric like fish that's made of stone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just to continue this kind of Luciferian accusation that is bandied around, and this includes the New Age movement. I would say that the New Age movement was a controlled form of opposition to steer those who started to explore the metaphysical into some kind of mystical, uber spiritual type of reality. And so, for instance, my definition of a Luciferian would be somebody that on the spectrum of, say, physical and non-physical, they go way too far into the metaphysical to the point where they do absolutely nothing in the physical realm. So these would be the sort of people that will kind of almost look like they're in a trance, and it's all love and light, and they're in direct contact with the Galactic Federation, and they talk about these non-physical entities and so on and so forth. But they actually do very little in terms of the physical existence. Now,
and they probably can't even look after themselves most of the time. Their own nuts and bolts, meat and potatoes life is falling apart on a daily basis, while they're in contact with the Galactic Federation and they're getting the secrets of creation.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be all about balance. It's got to be all about balance. You know, of course we live in a physical reality, but like I say, you may not see the non-physical influences, like as in beings or angels or entities, but you'll see the causes or the consequences of their influences or manipulations for good, bad, and indifference.
Yeah. One of the other thing that, going back to Logan, some important questions, which is not really unknown questions, but about the human race really is: who are we? Why are we here? Where do we come from? I suppose there's four really. Where do we go after we've been here? You know, and they're really the four main questions that we never seem to get answers for, do we?
No, they're the subjects that they don't teach at school.
Yes.
So I always say to people, whatever they didn't teach you at school, or whatever they're not interested in showing you at school, they're the avenues that you need to start walking down and exploring. If you want the full picture, or to get closer to that, to reality.
Explains everything that we all wang on about, doesn't it? Really?
Yes, it does.
Every one of us in a different way does the kind of that what you just said there. Isn't it?
But I also say, run towards those who are seeking the truth, but run away from those who claim to have found it.
Yeah.
So we have to be okay with like the unknown. We have to be okay with the question. I was always taught it's okay to live inside the question. It's not all about the answers. Now, I would say that if you look at the problems in this world right now, and for a long time, it's because people can't find answers. They either make them up and say it's a fact, or they live in some kind of belief system as fact. When in actual fact, most things we don't really know. We don't even know 5%. Science doesn't know 5%.
But you listen to Brian Cox, and he talks about solar system.
Mr. Soulless Meat Sack himself.
4 billion years ago, and he talks about it like it's a fact, like he's got some insider view on it.
Some of the stuff that those people read off is just such bullshit.
You could call NASA Luciferians because they come up with these renditions. It's all kind of like
NASA literally was built on
mysticism,
Luciferian ideals, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to play. So have you just put another screen up there, Lance?
No, I'm just changing
searching
screens.
for something, right?
Yeah, I did have some other things. I was just seeing what
Have you heard of direct neural interface technology?
Direct neural interface technology.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to put a video on for 2 minutes. Just give everybody a break. This is a guy from. Pardon?
I just watched that one.
Yeah, it's a different. I've got put two up there of this guy. It's called Dr. Justin Sanchez from DARPA. 2 minutes. There we go.
So I promise you, nothing that I show you today is going to be an illusion.
Oh, wrong one.
So with that, again, my name is Justin Sanchez, and I'm a neurotechnologist by training. And like was just said, I was at my lab at the University of Miami, and I got a call out of the blue. At the other end of the phone, there was a person that says, we need you to come immediately to Washington, D.C. and come to DARPA. And that's really where the whole story began. And the agency takes risks where others, like in industry or other parts of government, are unwilling to take risks. And a terrific example of all of that is the smartphone. So all of you probably have one or maybe even two smartphones in your pocket, and you may not know that a lot of the technology that's in the smartphone has its roots in DARPA. So Herb mentioned the internet, GPS, which enables us to find our phones or locate where those phones are. The touch screen that's on your phone that enables you to interact with it, that was a DARPA development. The accelerometer that's in the phone that enables you to change the orientation of the screen as you rotate the phone. And this small device, and it changes the way that we perceive our world and the way that we interact with our world. So to a person like me, the brain is not a black box. The brain's not just this goop in between your ears. It's a very intricate and elegant signaling of all of these neurons and how they evolve over time. And what we've done at DARPA is develop the technology in order to sense these signals in real time or even write signals into the brain. And today I'm going to show you a few examples of what that technology is and how it actually came to be. So this may be your first time hearing about a direct neural interface. And in the middle of the screen up there is actually an example of one of the types of neural interfaces that we're using in humans today. So this is a sensor array. It's about 4 by 4 millimeters. And on this sensor array, there are 96 sensors. Each one of the tips on that little array can detect between 1 and 3 neurons in your brain. All right? And we have the technology in order to identify those neurons, amplify their activity. There's minuscule signals actually happening in your brain. We can send those signals into a computer, and that computer can interpret what all of those signals actually mean when you're thinking about trying to do something. And we can place these sensors anywhere in your brain or even in your peripheral nervous system, right? These are the nerves that are outside of your brain, okay?
Makes it sound so cool.
While you may have thought of neurotechnology, as I've just described to you, as being something way off in the future, it's actually a technology that exists today, and we're actually using it with humans. We know that these technologies are extremely powerful, and we also know that they can be used for good or for ill. And without a doubt, these kinds of technologies are going to introduce new societal questions that we're all going to have to address. And just a few to consider. Will neural enhancement be considered a personal choice like laser eye surgery or even braces? Will there be a huge disconnect between the neural enhanced haves and the have-nots? In the future, will neural enhancement or some form of neural enhancements be considered a right, instead of a personal choice? These are just some of the questions that we have to think about, and they're not just questions for the technologists here, they're questions for all of us.
Well, I've had to think about it, and I don't want to do it.
American Psycho.
It's a no from me. It's a no from me too.
Yeah.
It looked like Trudeau in American Psycho again, Fire.
Yeah.
No, mate, you nailed it. Literally the love child of Trudeau in American Psycho. What I was thinking throughout all that was like, if you think about all of the films, and I mean, we all know about predictive programming. Okay, that's a given, right? But when you really think about it, some of the quotes that he was saying there are directly out of many of the top science fiction films in the last 10 years. A lot of the top high-budget games were all about this, about the future coming disparity and the new inequality which is going to come. Yes, Deus Ex, Human Evolution. Exactly the game I was thinking of. And many others that copied it. But this is going to be the coming class war. I truly believe that within a decade or two, there will be a whole new form of Marxism based all about this. Instead of pitting each other against their race and their sex or whatever, it will be about getting all the unaugmented peasants to rise up against the augmented class.
Yeah,
I can already see it.
He can only afford a blooming Robin reliant brain upgrade. I've got a Also, it was funny that
GTI
that he said that we're daring enough to do this and that, but it's not. It's military funded, isn't it? He's saying we're more daring than most companies because we dare do this and that. It's all military funded. And also he said we're using it in humans today. I noticed that. And then later on he said using it with humans. So they're already doing it, aren't they?
This is already in humans today, and it's being used with humans. Yeah, that's a bit of
it's also being funded by us. I mean, if you look at all this money that's being sent to Ukraine, where do you think that money is really being spent?
Yeah,
it's a lot of money they're sending.
Yeah.
And it's not for weapons or war.
Well, even if it is, I don't want to spend my money on weapons for whatever bullshit reason they've come up with next.
Well, it's probably going to be technological weapons, like what we're just looking at just now.
Yeah.
Probably go straight into R&D.
Yeah, I mean that was 5 years ago. I mean, and
they're
he's
already
talking like it.
Using it on humans.
And yet Elon Musk is still attempting to put his Neuralink into a pig's brain.
I sent you that
the kind of hardware that's used in Hot Wars now isn't generally going to be bought off of these high-end tech companies like Lockheed Martin and that, or DARPA. You know, small arms that are being used in Ukraine are not coming from their revenue stream. They're being bought off of second and third-hand aftermarket arms dealers. So that's what you've got to think about. When this money's going there, it's like, oh yeah, the weapons company's going to get real fat. What, from selling something that's like 10 years old, some old tech? There's probably surplus to someone else as well. No, it goes into R&D.
I sent Dom an article the other day, and it was in the Daily Mail. And I know all those crazy conspiracy nuts have talked about it for years, but it was actually the first time I've seen it in a newspaper. Do you remember, Dom, it had that picture of a hand, like with a microchip put in it? And the article wasn't even about whether it's right or wrong to have a chip put in your hand. It was about the legal, legal ramifications of how you get that in there and how banks deal with that chip in your hand. But it was literally the first time I've ever seen it in actually a newspaper so blatantly saying that this is coming. And then you think about, you've got that coming, and then you've got this coming, and that is the biblical level of you'll have the mark of the beast in your head or in your hand. It's done.
Yeah, it's crazy because I saw that exact thing posted some the other day, and someone was some normie was in there instantly defending it and going, oh, this is rubbish, that's old, they've already got your biometric data, it's all about your iris and your thing. And I was like, so you're actually sort of discounting this. Now it's been saying, this is only a matter of time, the next thing will be they're actually saying it will be the 6G chip is what we'll be having. We won't quite get the Pento Jizzle, the wireless pentagram, but the 6G, that's what the CEO of Nokia said this 2 weeks ago. He said, by 2030, All humans in civilized society will have a 6G chip.
Yeah.
Inside. Chip in skin.
Yeah. It didn't surprise us. Do you remember we were talking about Facebook in that last one we did, where they were part of a DARPA research program called LifeLog. And it was, I did a bit more digging because it intrigued me. I'll share this screen. And it was from a program called the Information Awareness Office. And you should see their logo.
I remember seeing this in a King David book many moons ago, probably about 20 years ago, when he was just showing all the symbols of the big multinational corporations, you know, and I was just getting into this stuff. I remember seeing this one.
I
and I was like, wait a minute, that's fucking blatant. They're really taking the piss with that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Look at that. Information Awareness Office.
Yeah. And one of the, and look at that.
It's even got AI. If you look in the acronym, it's AI backwards with an O in front. Omnipotent AI backwards. OAI.
Yeah. And one of the things was, where are we now? Wait a minute. This human identification distance recognition, where they can fuse face and gait recognition on humans. But then I thought, right, we'll just go through to facial recognition, and then I scrolled down and it went to social media, and it tells you here that Facebook have got something called deep face.
Yes, I know this for a fact because when I started the new profile, Ryan above it, recently, to save my actual government name profile on Facebook, which was on its last chance, I was on this profile for 3 days, no bans or nothing. And I think I posted a picture of Christina Aguilera at Pride with the big green cock. It was actually a real picture. It wasn't a meme. It wasn't Photoshop. And all of a sudden, it just shut the profile down. And I had to do this face scan that was a 3D scan of my face, like that, over 20 seconds. And you could tell it was to get the proper calibration.
Right.
You know, because it can't, I don't know how it worked, because there is no Ryan above it to go to with this face. I made it up. So whatever data it was harvesting, it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't being cross-referenced with anything because it gave me my profile back.
Right.
But yeah, so I know that for a fact. It wasn't asking for a passport or a driving license. It wanted my facial data.
Which then comes to our, I know you go on about this a lot, Lance, ID 2020. And I was rabbiting on about this a few years ago. And it's all part of, I mean, again, it's a UN drive, is this.
Yes.
That was part of that one where Rishi Sunak's father's business partner were talking about that chip that identifying fingerprints and retina pictures of about 1 billion people in India.
I believe it's called the digital patch, whereas what they do is they digitize either whatever piece of biometric data it can get, whether it's a picture of your face, a clip of your gait, your walk, or your fingerprint. And what it does is it digitizes that into a QR code and then does something to further encrypt it so that you have this. It ends up being a QR code, I believe, but that is actually called your digital patch, and it's linked directly with your biometric data, which has already been captured. That's being used in Africa as well, again, in collaboration with MasterCard. Because if you really look into ID 2020 and look who the partners are, it's just a who's who. It's Microsoft, MasterCard, Rockefeller Foundation, and there's all these other sort of like tech subsidiaries, and with 30 seconds of research.
ID 2020.
Oh look, there's a Soviet 1984 conspiracy theory linked with this.
Oh yeah,
what a surprise! Wait a minute, comrades, let's check this out. See what it says.
Conspiracy theories falsely allege that ID 2020 and William III Gates made plans for mandatory jabberies and the implementation of microchips into patients' bodies. Yeah. Anyway. ID 2020 staff have received death threats. Of course they have.
Poor old ID 2020 stuff. Yeah, Cisco Systems, that's another Gates front.
Yeah.
Accenture is also sponsored, I believe, to like the tune of 33 million by Gates Foundation. I don't know about PricewaterhouseCoopers. I haven't looked into them, but Cisco Systems and Accenture for sure.
Yeah, a massive Pricewaterhouse, a massive out there accounting company. But yeah, anyway, so these are the ones that I tell you something. You sent me down a rabbit hole. Was this the Munich Security Conference?
Oh, is this the one that? This is what Lee brought to the table about the asymptomatic.
Which I found interesting because it's actually held in Bavaria.
Was it not the international? Obviously, was it not the International Committee for Nuclear Prevention?
Yes. Well, it was this nuclear threat initiative.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And they held it at the Munich Security Conference.
Right.
In Bavaria.
Yeah, it's partnership.
Yeah, in the Illuminati land. And
coincidence.
Oh, it's definitely.
It was either going to be there or Switzerland, wasn't it?
Yeah, definite coincidence that they're holding it there, and it were quite interesting. Some of the people that were involved in that.
What Branson?
No. Some of these people that were involved. I know you mentioned in that. Can you remember that document? There was a document, weren't there? I've got a link to it here.
Yeah, it was the NTI document that Lee found, and it was basically it was produced in 2021, I believe, in March.
Yeah.
And it planned out the asymptomatic. I don't know if you can even say the pox thing, right down to the day, exactly the day, which was May the 15th. Yeah, this one here. It actually predicted right down to the day when the outbreak would take place, which I believe was May the 15th.
Yeah.
It did say that we go. Was it this document that says we go into a national lockdown tomorrow, July the 15th?
Right.
Yeah.
That one of them ladies there. She was also she's part of quite a big group of scientists who work on the. I think she headed up the biosecurity and stuff like that. And
Chief Genocide Officer.
Yeah, she's vice president of the Global Biological Policy and Programs of NTI. So she's quite up there, and she's program officer Open Philanthropy, where she led
Yassif.
Yeah, where she led the Biosecurity Pandemic Preparedness Initiative.
This was one of the most accurate ones. I mean, Event 201 was good because it sort of rolled into the live event, so it was real blurring. But this one was like almost just a year before. It predicted everything right down to the day.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I got in loads of trouble for going through these documents that were pre-COVID, like Crimson Winter, Cladex.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Spars.
Yeah.
I got someone else's stream shut down by going through that document live on air, and that was their third strike. That was the really woke show. Sorry, guys.
What happened to them?
I haven't heard from them for ages.
They never recovered from that, did they?
I don't know. They were already on their like 20th different YouTube channel, and they invited me on. I told them what I was going to do. I was like, "This is going to drop bombs." They said, "Go for it." And yeah, I think it actually got taken down before the stream even ended.
Jeepers.
Yeah, because that was the one that even had all of the details. The SPARS document about like there will be a rambunctious right-wing president who opposes the WHO and puts a preventative therapeutic on the table, which was, guess who? It was Trump and HCQ. Even that they predicted.
And there's Boris at the Munich Security Conference. There's Mr. Kissinger. He helped set it all up.
Who's that to the right of Kissinger?
I don't know. It's like in a mirror type.
His brother. It was like his stunt double.
Yeah.
Brother, one of them's got headphones on.
But I'll show you the guy that started it. Him. He's the guy that started and he was part of the attempt to assassinate Hitler. You know that film that Cruise was He was part of that attempt to assassinate.
What's it called? Is it called Valkyrie?
Valkyrie, that's it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
he was part of all that.
So is that Tom Cruise's character? That dude?
No, he isn't Tom Cruise's character. He was he played someone else, but yeah, he was, and that's his uncle. So they're quite a well-known
top Nazi, but they were the good Nazis, right?
Oh yeah, all the good Nazis. They were the good Nazis.
Was it the good Nazis that tried to kill Hitler that were they involved in Operation Paperclip?
Yeah, they were all involved in Paperclip and working for CIA and etc. etc.
They founded Disney, NASA,
yeah, it was
CIA, all your favorite alphabet corporations.
Ewald Heinrich von Kleist-Schmetzin, not him, that guy that founded it. The other picture.
Von Kleist-Schmetzin.
Yeah, him.
Nice.
And yeah, it was like a World Economic Forum. This is like, well, there's some guys on here, like this guy here. He's at Davos there, and he's called Joe Kaiser, and he was it says there, chief executive of Siemens. You know, all sorts of different people.
Wasn't Schwab's dad the guy that took the reins of the German economy?
No, Schwab's dad
off of the Third Reich.
Yeah, Schwab's dad ran a factory called Eschen. I forgot what it's 2 names. Eschen. Anyways, and he was part of the. He got a medal from the Nazis for providing the factory and weapons for their army. So that's Eschen Schweiz or something it were called.
But after
Swiss
that,
company.
didn't he become some sort of economic chancellor?
I don't know if he was an economic chancellor or he was a. Not him. I don't think he did. No.
I'm sure that Schwab took the reins off another Schwab. Maybe it was an uncle or someone like that. I'll have to look into this again. I'm sure I read about this.
I'll have to go back through my notes if I were going to go back through there. There was something about what he did.
Re-Schwab it.
Yeah, re-Schwab him. But he had, Schwab's had an half brother in Brazil, and that's the big sort of cover up.
Yeah, they like to Schwab it about.
Yeah, but that was interesting, that nuclear threat, because there's so many people involved in that. It was yeah. That's just another World Economic Forum, is that Munich conference and the nuclear threat initiative run by NGOs and all of the same people.
You can see how it's all working together.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I started doing one of my next bits of research is the World Economic Forum board, which is an interesting group of crooks as well.
It's like a sub mafia.
Yeah. They're
criminal overworld.
Yeah, certainly. Hang on, let me see if I can get that.
Yeah, because you've got to think at the World Economic Forum, those people that we see at the seminars and the meetings on the TV, you know, Schwab and all his cronies. Well, if you look at the Vatican, like the Pope and all of his cardinals, he's only the white Pope. He's not like the grey Pope or even the black Pope.
Yeah.
So there was like at least 2 levels officially behind him that even normies can learn about the Pope.
Yeah.
So you've got to imagine the WEF's going to work exactly like that. You know, Schwab and they're only the front men.
Guess who's on the board? Look who's here.
Al Gore.
Al Gore's here.
Boom. Al Gore, Christine Lagarde. All our favourites, kiddies.
Yeah. That guy there's, I think, 7th richest man in the world. He was on the board of Nestle. I think he was Nestle over it. At one point.
Peter Brabeck Lamath.
Chrystia Freeland, who locked everybody's bank accounts in Canada. She runs the IMF. Andre Hoffman, he owns, his family own La Roche, the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world. It's part of the probably black nobility. Hoffman La Roche.
Medici family, I believe.
Yeah. So he's on the board of Siemens, as well. So all these people down here, and then there's it's an interesting set. He owns Salesforce, or start Salesforce up. Mark Carney.
Envoy for Climate Action and Finance, United Nations.
Yeah.
The who's who of the who.
Of the who. Yeah. So we're coming up to 2 hours. We're going to run for 2 hours. So
no, I think we went in.
Yeah.
Proper smorgasbord there.
We got up to over 620 viewers at one point.
Wow.
Overall, I don't think just on our feed, but overall.
Well, we've got the triad involved. It's across all 3 channels on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's do you know the chat feed? It's frozen here. How can you reboot it? Or
I've noticed mine is frozen as well.
Yeah,
mine is as well.
Can you do anything to
I wouldn't recommend pressing the refresh button on the screen because that might fuck with the stream. Yeah, it's a bit weird, that one. It's the first time I've ever done this because if you look, I don't know if you can see it where it says a lot of the comments are paired.
Yeah.
That means it's come from either Lee's or my channels.
Yeah.
And I've never had this before. This is totally new to me. So maybe there might be just a bit of...
It's still running on YouTube, all right, because I had a look.
Yeah, it's still running on YouTube, all right, yeah.
Yeah, because I was watching it on... I was commenting it on my channel, and it only said there was 197 people tuned in, so I guess that was 197 people from my channel. I didn't see all your
397 on mine.
Right, so 397 on yours, 197 on mine, and then the rest on In the Guardians. But here they're all schwab together.
Yeah.
So yeah, potentially it's got a little bit jammed. But hey, it was a good one. There's a lot of people in the chat, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's quite.
Don't forget to get your tickets for our treat, riseabove.tv.
Yeah.
It's quite groundbreaking.
I'm quite looking forward to that, lads.
Me too, mate.
Yeah, joining up's quite groundbreaking. Joining up live, isn't it?
Yeah. We created a triad, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like this platform, Restream, because this new feature allows, like, for instance, next time you guys come on Rise Above, I can do the same backwards and I can send it and we'll port the show onto your channel as well.
Yeah.
And this is really good because we're getting maximum exposure here right now.
Yeah.
You know, to have 600 people tuned in at once is quite phenomenal, to be honest. You know, some big channels peak at 200 and they're very pleased with that. So yeah, guys, I think we're doing very well. I think we should all be pleased with ourselves, and a massive shout out to everyone that's tuned in because you know, you guys are all part of this as well. We're connecting consciousness here. That's the important thing.
I've got one more video to play. I might just play this the Sandra Bullock one.
Is she eating bugs or something like that?
What do you mean? Do you know the Sandra Bullock one? How are we supposed to know which one you mean, you lemon?
You do know which one I mean.
I'm going to have my dinner soon.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah.
All the videos of celebrities recently, they're all eating bugs. Every single video.
That double out. I remember Nicole Kidman did it a couple of years ago.
Was it an old video? Because that's resurfaced. And she's dressed in a nice dress. Right, okay. I wondered about that.
Well,
that one
was you do realise, we discussed this in last night's dojo, that when science or the sort of the dark occult, nefarious world, men of dark suits, when they want to implement something, they have to use the influencers, they have to use the celebrities. Because I would say the majority of the normie sphere, they would actually listen more to a celebrity than they would even a politician.
Absolutely, yeah. And you get every demographic. You've got actors, musicians, sports stars. You've got everybody. You've got someone for everybody.
And that's all they are. They're influencers for the cult. And that's why it's so important what we're doing. You know, this is totally organic. I would say that, you know, everyone from my channel that hasn't subbed to Sheep Farm, do it immediately. And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah, you know, and in the Guardians, people that you're tuned in, if you've never watched Sheep Farm before, sub to these guys because we are the new media.
Yeah.
You know, no one is trusting the garbage that is pumped out by the parasite with all of these puppet influences that we can all see through like a pane of glass now.
No,
it's over.
And do you know what? We don't always get it right, but at least we will say we haven't got it right.
Hey, we never pretend we've got all the answers here. As great as your research is and as deep as we go on our Friday night chats, we never pretend that we've got all of the answers. We're all sat here at the table together, putting it out here, dissecting it and seeing what we can pull out.
And answers. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll play this video.
Ideas over dogma.
couple months ago, Kate Blanchett admitted to that Sandra Bullock and her went and got a certain kind of facial in New York when they had some downtime shooting Ocean's 8. So Sandra sat down with Ellen and explained exactly what it was.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby. That's what it is.
Okay.
Who comes up with this?
I don't think. It's not like I'm lying there with little pieces all over my face. It's like.
Who thinks of collecting it and having it for, we'll do something with this
and
someday.
Why didn't we come up with that?
Right. To be rich.
And so we call it, I call it the penis facial. And I think when you see how good it is to your face, you too will run to your local facialist and say, give me the penis.
So
the penis facial from Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
She's a fucking bloke, she is, isn't she? She looks like Michael Jackson.
So I'm going to put a little on your hand.
I'll do that. Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're going to rub it right in.
How come it's red?
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human
Look, the wrinkles has just disappeared.
It was red.
I can't even ball my hand up.
But so it's made
I had to
from
do this
human
with the pictures
foreskin.
because there was copyright
Derived
on
from baby foreskin. She showed up in Western Canada a few days ago. And along with all of the adoring fans, showed up some angry protesters, including some activists who say they are angry because Oprah is endorsing a skin cream that they say is made from circumcised foreskins from babies. It's a $165 cream. It's a Skin Medica cream. Oprah has referred to it as her fountain of youth.
Fucking nut jobs.
Absolute Satanists. Holy shit. Yeah, I've seen that before, but it never fails to amaze me.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
People think we're crazy. Come on.
Yeah. This is the thing. So we're crazy for talking about what we talk about, but then you've got shit like that on national TV and everyone clapping
and did you notice at the start, it wasn't the fact that it had human body parts in it, whether they had to make the point, what's in it? It's human foreskins from a Korean baby. It comes from far away. So then you've got the organ trafficking element. You see how this is all built into like the predictive mockery. Imagine if they said it was. Imagine if they said it was cut from FMG, from female genetic mutilation. It was a little African girl's clitoris.
Yeah.
Do you think people would still be laughing? Maybe they would.
Yeah.
And also, she looks just like Michael Jackson, doesn't she? She's definitely a geezer. Sandra Bullock. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe she's not. I don't know, but I would hazard a guess. It's in the chin and nose, and even putting on that high pitched voice. I can put on that voice. That does not sound feminine, does it? Not that I give a shit, by the way. I'm not slagging off anyone. But
are you going down this trans investigation route? I've seen a lot of Facebook pages about this.
I find some of it interesting, if I'm honest.
I do find some of it interesting. Some of it's a little bit far fetched.
Some of it's crazy because, but he's very funny as well. By the way, even if it's not real, but there is a few that you think. I mean, just the way the system works, I would hazard a belief that at some point in time, right, some famous female actress is going to say, "I'm trans," just to throw it into it. Or a fella's going to say, "I'm trans." I would guess that is going to happen at some point.
Yeah. Well, there's been talk of a few people like Jamie Lee Curtis for years. Well, way before all of this, and others. Are they hermaphrodites?
I hope Jamie Lee Curtis isn't, right, because in Trading Places, when she got Top Rocks out, I paused that about 3,000 times. The point when he was playing on VHS, he crackled at that point. So if someone else was watching it, just like, I hope Jamie Lee Curtis, to be fair. Personal reasons.
An 80s teenage.
Yeah, 80s teenage.
Yeah.
Do you remember in
True Lies?
I think,
True
I
Lies,
think
yeah.
we've gone past the 2-hour mark. I think.
Yeah.
It's going insane now. Yeah.
Trade lessons. You went like that, they didn't even move.
Yeah. Just one quick one before Chris gets a bit excited and starts sucking cork off his wine. We started talking about these smartwatches the other day. I know that's not a real smartwatch, but
I've got a good one about this.
Yeah, and then
that's coming in
live. And then my little one's.
Is that Mini Dom?
Yeah.
Hello, Mini Dom.
Right, Theotropolis.
I can't hear you, Chris. I've got headphones on. So we're talking about them being called smartwatches, and I think watch is a good name, isn't it? Because that is actually what they're doing. Yeah. And people are queuing up for these things as well, aren't they?
£700.
I was in Co-op today, just buying a sandwich, and I hate going in the self-service checkouts. But there was an NPC Proviet in front of me. He was only 20 years old, and I'll finish on this. He had his mask down to the bottom of his chin and up to his eyeballs, and he was at the self-service checkout, and he was getting his soy latte or whatever. And he was paying with a smartwatch. So he was going up to the payment thing, trying to get it to swipe, not being particularly successful. But he also wanted to get his data harvesting points from his club card or whatever it was. And he had this other little tag with a QR code. So you can imagine he was very, proper soy warrior, really skinny, like trying to do all these like scans and everything over his mask. And I was just stood there waiting to pay with. I had a debit card. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have cash. Sorry, guys. But yeah, and I was just thinking, this is the future.
That's the future, yeah.
That's
Someone's
Aaron
just
Russo,
stood
isn't
there
it?
wearing a mask. He had earphones in. He had Bluetooth earphones, totally detached from everything going on, just trying to scan himself in to get it to give his data harvesting credits away or whatever. I thought, yeah, here we are.
That is the future.
That is the future.
Welcome to the future, comrades.
Yeah. Welcome to future, Theo. And this one, Wally, what people are turning into at the moment is. This is the last one, Lee. You can go for your tea.
A Wally.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Faye? I thought this is the first time I saw this, where everyone's strapped into a device out there. I mean, the only difference is that it's literally strapped to the head, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all obese in like a hover chair.
Yeah. I think the difference will be there. It won't be strapped to your head like that. It'll be put into your eyeball.
Yeah, they won't have there won't be a physical screen in front of your face. You have augmentation built in.
Yeah.
Wow.
The big gulp. Okay then, folks. I think we'll wrap up there. Eh?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man.
No worries. Been a nice chat as always. 2 hours have just disappeared.
Can't believe that was 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. Just gone, hasn't it?
So, Rise Above is tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you that.
We got two guests. We've got a leader from the Sikh community.
Right.
Uncle Singh is coming on to talk about Sikhism and how it relates to everything going on now, and maybe the esoteric side of it as well. I don't know a lot about Sikhism. That's interesting.
I was going to just say that it's an interesting subject because it's
Sikhs keep themselves to themselves. It's just like Anyway, so Sam Carno's linked that up, and we've also got Dan from the Mud Fossil Society coming on,
right,
to talk about ancient, huge fossilized creatures. Resets, mud floods.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so we got two guests tomorrow night, guys. Rise Above Live, 9 p.m.
Right. Cool.
And can you give my sheep farm bottle opener a plug? Double I'll send you one down.
Oh, mate, absolutely. Listen, if you come to Rattree with some of your sheep farm bottle openers, I don't want a 33% cut. I want a 0% cut. You'll make a killing.
Yeah, can have
Come
one.
on.
Oh, but are you going to give me and Dom a table then? Because we'll bring some
I've
t-shirts.
already said this to Dom earlier.
I'm
going to give you a stall. I'm giving you 2 free weekend camping tickets. I want to see.
Don't include me in the stall because he's a market trader.
I want to see Health Bunker and Gaping Gobs products and everything, all your stuff on show in our black market.
Yeah,
this is the black market.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll be selling cheap
and people can sit down and have a chat with you guys as well. That's what it's all about, getting interactive.
Yeah. Chris is going to do some sheep farm vests, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I want to do a vest with an egg stain on it.
I'll send you the link to my Tom at 528 Create, who does all my stuff. I'll send you a link.
I think I've already got his. I think I've already got his information. Yeah,
he does everything. You just send the logo. You don't have to do anything. It's great.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
RiseAbove.tv to get tickets for our treat, everyone.
Yeah. Our treat and Sheep Found were there, and I'll be selling Sheep Found bottle openers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cool. Okay, then we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys tomorrow night.
Everybody.
Yeah,
you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master Lee and Lance.
Love to everyone.
Thanks for the invite.
Don't fall for the bullshit propaganda, fear mongering nonsense, etc.
Reject the Soviet Union.
Yeah, exactly. See you later.
See you.
But
will grow old, then I will die. I'll be a part of the oceans and sky. When I was young, be